Hey everyone, welcome back to the Witty Riders. Hope you guys are doing good. We are in Chennai right now, and what do you think we're gonna explore? And yes, you're right. From a seaport and a busy trading center to a place with rich history and heritage, Mahabalipuram it is. On the way, we came across this irresistible wall, which is in fact Indira Nagar railway station. This is India's largest panoramic mural titled We Are and spreads the message of shared humanity of how people suffering or having recovered from HIV/AIDS deserve equal rights and a place in our society. After enjoying the art and the beautiful thought, it's now time to enjoy everybody's favorite, the ECR stretch. There is so much more to this route, plenty of options for a one-day outing. Let's quickly go through the list of activities this stretch offers us. First in the list is this VGP Golden Beach, Marine, Universal and Snow Kingdom. Then there is MGMDC World, Dakshin Chitra, Kovalam Beach, Resorts, Muttukadu Boating, Crocodile Bank and much more. So there is something for everybody. Not forgetting though the ECR 4-lane drive. Finally, we have reached Mamalapuram, or more commonly known as Mahabalipuram, and the first place we chose to see here is the Shore Temple. Obviously it's called so because it's on the shore of Bay of Bengal. It's built by the Pallava dynasty and is one of the oldest temples in India. There used to be 7 temples here, but now we just have this one as the rest 6 are said to be submerged in the sea due to natural calamities during the course of time. This monument has many sculptures symbolizing the friendship between the Pallavas and the Chinese. For instance, this sculpture here, the Pallavas represented themselves with lions and the Chinese with dragon, and the sculpture is designed as a mixture of both. Plus, the heart of the structure has Goddess Durga's carvings, and at the footstep is a slaughtered deer implying sacrifice to the goddess, and thus the name Mahabalipuram. This place is as interesting as its history, but the stone carvings looks to be worn out. This might be the effect of constant soil erosion as it's very close to the sea. However, the temple still stands tall even after the destructive tsunami attack, just to tell us all the stories from the past. Also, try to opt for a local guide to get to know the minute details about the place. That way, things would be much more relatable. Forgot to tell you all that the ticketing system has been changed now, and there is this QR code displayed for getting contactless ticket. This will be valid for most of the places around except for the museum, the lighthouse and of course the parkings. And with that, we are moving on to the next place, which is Arjunan's Penance, which is the second largest sculptural panel in the world. It is constructed in a monolithic form of architecture, which means it's built on just one single rock, and this entire shape is around 90 feet long and 30 feet high. There are n number of stories associated with the rock, but we are going to just tell you the one associated with its name so that we can conclude as to why it got its name as Arjunan's Penance. This has been inspired by the epic Mahabharata. These 5 caves are said to be the home of 5 brothers called the Panch Pandavas, and beside that is the carving of one of the episode in third brother Arjuna's life. In those days, it was believed that if they needed something, they had to punish themselves to get what they wanted. Same has been explained on this stone using 153 statues. So the story goes like this. Arjuna wanted a weapon from Lord Shiva to kill his enemy and goes on a hunger strike. So all the heavenly bodies the animals, and even the river Ganga arrive to show support to Arjuna. Finally, he gets the weapon and accomplishes his task. However, there are many versions of this story modified by the localites through the ages. After being astonished by the accuracy of the sculptures and the carvings, we are now entering a huge property. It's really huge and it's pretty confusing as to what to see and what is its importance. But don't you worry, we have made a list for you guys on things to see when inside this place. So let's get started. Ganesha's chariot. This used to be a Shiva temple, but the linga went missing and it's now dedicated to Lord Ganesha. You can buy souvenirs here. We were stunned by the precision with which each of this artwork was made, from showpieces to tea light holders. They were all amazing. Varha Cave Temple. It's named after the third incarnation of Lord Vishnu, as Varha's sculpture is the most prominent amongst all the other sculptures in this cave. Raya Gopuram, meaning a monumental tower entrance. While most of the monuments are around 1400 years old, few are just 300 years old. One of it is this unfinished Gopuram, and the construction is said to be interrupted by the Britishers during their rule. Largely overlooked by the tourists, the hilltop location serves as a good vantage point, offering uninterrupted views of the coastline and the nearby lighthouse. The Raya Gopuram pillar. This pillar depicts Dashavatar, referring to the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu. The viewpoints. There are numerous viewpoints, just that you gotta climb the rocks, while few rocks have the step-like shape carved on them. Next up is this modern lighthouse built by the British in 1910. For sure, it's a must-get experience. As it's supposed to be, the steps are narrow and steep. You get a nice view of the sea and the entire surrounding once you are at the top. We also got to see the light emission area where many lenses were stacked together. It was something new to us and we were happy to have gotten this experience. Olakaneshwara temple, meaning 3 flaming eyes of Lord Shiva. Initially we thought it was like any other monument, but not anymore. This was not a temple at all, but an ancient lighthouse. Instead of light, they used to have burning flames of fire to show direction to the ships arriving to the port. The carvings on this monument are unique and have sculptures on characters portraying directions on alerting and signaling. It's called the 3 flaming eyes of Shiva because there were 2 more towers on each side of this monument with similar functionalities as the main monument. So totally there were 3 towers with burning flames of fire showing direction, thus the name. The history of this place is explained amazingly well in a video by Praveen Mohan. The link will be in the description box. Draupadi's bath. We found 3 such bathtubs made out of stone. They all range from 5 to 8 feet in depth. Raja's seat. Koneri Pond. Biggest pond in Mahabalipuram is this Koneri Pond. Talks on building a boathouse by the Tamil Nadu Tourism is on and is planned to be completed in another couple of years. The museum. This museum has many ship models, ancient anchors and equipments used in ship. We certainly did come out with a nice feel. Krishna's Butterball. A 250-ton rock that threatens to roll off from a cliff anytime, but it still remains unmoved by tsunami, earthquakes or cyclones for over 1200 years now. Researchers say that this phenomena might be due to friction and center of gravity, while many believe that it was placed in its position by the gods who wanted to prove their power thousands of years ago. Well, be it science or supernatural powers, this butterball is giving gravity a tough competition. The Rock Cave. Many myths around this cave as well, stating that this was Bhima's kitchen, while in reality it never was. This huge rock cave is simply very attractive in itself. Rock cut sculptures. Like we said earlier, Mahabalipuram was trading center and these rock cuttings were used as a model to tell the buyers from other countries as to what kind of sculptures they were capable of providing. The Tiger Caves. It's around 5 kilometers from Arjuna's penance. This monument is in a shape of an auditorium, so it must have been used by the kings in the 7th century for any kind of ministry meetings. It's a nice place for a picnic. There are few activities for the kids and a beach to relax. Now, all that being said, we still don't know why these sculptures were carved and then why few are left incomplete. Perhaps the Pallavas were experimenting with stone and these were readily available designs to copy. Many scholars believe that these were never used as a place of worship. Also, they said that the Pandavas never came here. It's the fascination towards the Mahabharata and Ramayana that made them carve these characters onto the stone. Sadly, we do not have definite answers for many such questions. However, what we do have are many colorful myths that do a wonderful job of filling the gaps and firing our imagination. With that, we conclude today's episode on this majestic historical place, Mahabalipuram. It was so much fun for us to know our very own history. We hope that you guys enjoyed this equally. Do subscribe to our channel for more such videos. See you guys soon on our next video. Until then, take care.